In the vast silent expanse of the cosmos, billions of worlds spin in the darkness, each holding its own secrets. For eons, we have looked to the heavens, wondering if we are truly alone in this infinite theater of stars. But sometimes the stars look back, and occasionally they visit. Our journey takes us to a specific point on this blue marble, a place where the veil between worlds grew thin. Across the vibrant landscapes of Brazil, a land of ancient myths and modern mysteries. Deep in the heart of Minas Gerais, where the mountains hold more than just minerals. It was here, in the early hours of a summer morning in 1996, that history was forever altered. A quiet town named Varginha, a place that would soon become the center of a global storm. Locals woke to a day they thought was ordinary, unaware of the cosmic encounter about to unfold. I am Thomas, and today we investigate the truth that the world was never meant to see. This is the Varginha Incident. January 20th, 1996. The sun rose over the Brazilian town of Varginha, just like any other day. But beneath the calm surface, something extraordinary was unfolding. What began as a quiet morning would soon become the epicenter of one of the most mysterious UFO encounters in modern history. Locals began to report sightings, creatures that defied explanation and lights that danced in the darkness. They claim they saw something not of this world and that the military was already moving in to take it away. Tonight we uncover the truth behind the Varginha alien case. As the day faded into a stormy evening, 3 lives were about to change forever. 3 young women, Liliane, Valkyria and Katia, were walking home through the rain. They were just trying to get home, seeking shelter from the downpour, but the alleyway held a shadow that didn't belong. In the dim light, they noticed a strange figure. It was crouched against the wall, huddled as if trying to disappear into the stones. It was small, its skin brownish and oily, glistening with the rain, but it was the eyes that truly haunted them. Large, glowing red orbs filled with a terrifying depth. The girls said it didn't look like a monster from a movie. It looked frightened, weak, almost human in its suffering. Panic took hold. They ran home as fast as their feet would carry them. The image of those red eyes burned into their minds. When they reached safety, their story was consistent. They were convinced beyond any doubt that they had seen something not of this earth. As news of the encounter spread through Varginha, the story quickly captured the attention of local media. The headlines were bold, fueling a fire of curiosity and fear that gripped the entire community. Soon, photos of the 3 young witnesses were everywhere, their faces becoming the symbols of an encounter that defied logic. Curious onlookers flocked to the empty lot, trying to catch a glimpse of the place where the impossible had occurred. But they weren't the only ones. Multiple witnesses came forward, describing unusual activity that morning. Military trucks moving in silence through the city. Others claimed they heard rumors of a captured creature whisked away in the dead of night to a secret facility. These early reports would become the foundation of what many now call the Brazilian Roswell, a moment when the world changed and the truth was hidden. The mystery began at dawn. A farm couple reported a submarine-shaped craft hovering low over the fields, gasping smoke into the morning air. The military was already on its way. The S2 intelligence wing and the fire department were mobilized in a coordinated sweep of the Jardim Andere neighborhood. The hunt for special cargo had begun. The creatures were taken first to the regional hospital, then to Humanitas. Entire wings were cordoned off by armed guards as a pervasive ammonia-like odor filled the halls. The capture came at a tragic cost. Marco Eli Cereze, a young officer who physically handled the creature, died weeks later from a total collapse of his immune system. A mysterious U.S. Air Force transport landed in Campinas without a flight plan. Witnesses claim the biological specimens were transferred and flown out of the country. The official story spoke of a confused man in the mud, but the presence of international forces suggested a truth far more complex and far more dangerous. To the people of Virginia, the sulfur smell and the 3-toed footprints were evidence enough. They knew they weren't alone. The military response was swift, silent, and final, but the echoes of that day in 1996 refused to be silenced. Tonight, the investigation continues. The aftermath of the encounter was marked by a tragic and unexplained loss. One soldier allegedly died days later from a strange rapid infection after handling the creature. The official records were vague, but the rumors were chilling. His family was reportedly visited by authorities and told not to speak publicly about the circumstances of his death. For UFO researchers, this was the smoking gun. They believe his death was the direct result of biological contamination, proof that the being was not of this world. If true, the Varginha Incident wasn't just an encounter, it was a biological event with consequences that reached far beyond the city limits. The silence of the military remains, but the mystery of the soldier's death continues to haunt the history of Varginha. In 1996, Dr. Italo Venturelli was a respected neurosurgeon in Varginha. He was unexpectedly summoned to the regional hospital on a weekend for a case that defied every medical precedent. The hospital had been transformed into a fortress. Biological units and armed guards cordoned off the wings. Venturelli was led to a room where a being was being kept under high-level escort. He described a creature with large, deep red eyes and dark, oily skin, but it wasn't just its appearance that shocked him, it was the profound intelligence he perceived behind those eyes. Dr. Venturelli recalled a haunting moment of eye contact. He said the being looked at him twice, then turned toward the window. He was convinced he wasn't looking at an animal, but a sentient life form. After years of silence, his clinical account has become a cornerstone of the case. For Venturelli, this wasn't folklore, it was a physical encounter with the unknown. Decades have passed since that misty morning in 1996, but the shadows of Varginha have not receded. Time has only served to thicken the veil of mystery. Investigators, skeptics, and believers have all tried to solve the puzzle, giving birth to a landscape of competing theories that challenge our understanding of reality. The most prominent theory centers on a crash recovery operation, a narrative of something falling from the stars and the desperate race to retrieve it. Witnesses reported a craft unlike any known, a submarine-shaped vessel that appeared to be in distress, gasping smoke into the morning air. Within hours, the military had cordoned off the area. They weren't looking for a conventional crash, they were hunting for whatever had survived the descent. If a craft was recovered, it was whisked away under the highest level of security, leaving behind only the sulfurous scent of the unknown and a town full of questions. Then there is the biological theory that the being was a sentient extraterrestrial, injured and disoriented, wandering the streets after an emergency landing. Witnesses were haunted by those eyes, large, glowing red orbs that seemed to convey not malice, but a profound and almost human suffering. It looked fragile, shivering in the cool morning air. This was no invader, it was a survivor struggling to survive in a world that wasn't its own. The medical accounts, like those of Dr. Venturelli, add a terrifying layer of reality. They suggest a physical, biological entity that required expert care. A more grounded, yet equally dark explanation claims it was a secret military experiment, a biological project gone wrong, hidden in the shadows of the state. Was it a genetic experiment, a classified endeavor into the unknown limits of biology? The military's presence at the local hospitals suggested they were managing a crisis. The involvement of the S2 intelligence wing pointed toward a coordinated cover-up designed to contain the story before it could trigger a national panic. But there are also the voices of reason. Skeptics argue that the entire Varginha case was a classic example of mass hysteria, fueled by fear and media attention. The official military inquiry concluded that the alien was simply a local man with a disability nicknamed Mudinho, seen in the rain and misunderstood by panicking girls. The media frenzy of the time cannot be overlooked. Headlines screamed of monsters turning every shadow into a sighting and every rumor into a fact. For the skeptics, Varginha is a study in human psychology, how a quiet town can become the center of a cosmic myth in the absence of clear answers. Yet, even the strongest skepticism fails to fully explain the consistent reports from firefighters, police officers, and the clinical details from Dr. Venturelli. The alleged death of the young officer who handled the creature remains the most chilling piece of the puzzle, a physical consequence that defies the hysteria theory. Every path of the investigation leads back to the heart of Minas Gerais, where the truth remains buried beneath layers of classification. Fragmented reports and leaked accounts suggest a coordinated international response with secrets that reach far beyond the borders of Brazil. Today, Varginha wears its mystery with pride. The city has embraced its cosmic identity with monuments that mirror the legends born in its streets. The lot where it all began is still there, a quiet patch of ground that holds the echo of a physical encounter with the unknown. The consistency of the descriptions from witnesses who did not know each other is perhaps the most compelling evidence of all. This was no imagination. Independent researchers continue to pore over every detail, looking for the one piece of evidence that the military might have missed in their cleanup. The hills of Minas Gerais have kept their secrets for centuries. Varginha is just the latest chapter in a history written in the stars and hidden in the mist. The alleged involvement of international forces adds a geopolitical weight to the case, suggesting a truth that was too big for any one nation to hold. The hospital wings remain silent, but the testimonies of the medical staff serve as a constant reminder that something physical was being guarded that night. The Varginha case is a puzzle with missing pieces, a story without a final chapter. But as long as the shadows remain, we will continue to look for the light. I am Thomas, and this has been our investigation into the Varginha alien case. The truth is still out there, waiting for those who dare to look. Over the years, dozens of witnesses have come forward, each adding a new chilling piece to the puzzle. What was once a local secret has become a global enigma. Police officers reported unusual movements around the city that morning, coordinated maneuvers that the official logs failed to reflect. Firefighters claimed they were ordered to respond to a strange creature call in the Jardim André neighborhood and were later threatened with silence. Even doctors from the local hospital described seeing military personnel escorting something or someone into restricted wings under heavy guard. As these professional testimonies surfaced, the case earned a new name in the history of the unknown, the Brazilian Roswell. But with every official denial, the mystery only deepened. The authorities maintained their cover story even as the evidence became impossible to ignore. Files disappeared from the archives. Witnesses changed their stories under immense pressure. The truth was being systematically erased. Today, the truth is harder than ever to separate from the fear and secrecy. But for Varginha, the investigation is far from over. The shadows still hold their secrets. Today, the Varginha case remains one of the most debated mysteries in UFO history. No official explanation has ever satisfied the witnesses or the investigators who followed. Whether it was a misunderstanding, a military secret, or a moment of true contact, the truth continues to hide in the shadows. And until those shadows are lifted, the story of Varginha will remain one of the most compelling enigmas on our planet. If you enjoyed this investigation and want to explore more mysteries, UFO encounters, and unexplained phenomena, make sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps uncover the next mystery. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep your eyes on the skies.